What's going on, y'all? Good morning. It's before noon, and I have been working on getting up earlier. Because if you guys know me, or anybody that does know me, I'm not even going to claim being a night owl, because I'm just going to allow what's happening to be what is. But I've been working really hard to change from being a very, very night person to being a day person. So, good morning. I've already studied my Spanish, worked out, stretched, had tea, breakfast, my vitamins, my breathing exercises. I got dressed. I'm proud of myself. So, whoever's on the other side of that, just give me a round of applause because I deserve it. I'm proud of me. Anyways, what's going on, y'all? So, I titled this The Value of Transparency, and this was inspired by part in inspiration, a class that I took with Lisa Nichols. So she's an amazing speaker and all this stuff. I'm learning how to be an amazing speaker. And there were some things that she shared that I wanted to share with you guys. There's so much value in transparency. And if you're anything like me, or I'll just share my little mini story of sorts, is, I really used to kind of be a perfectionist. I really needed things to look a certain way and for people to perceive me a certain way in order for me to feel of worth and value. Like, hey, you're doing a good job. Hey, you're amazing. Her work is dope. She's this and that and the other. So sometimes when you grow up in the space where you are working for the kudos, right? You want the gold star, you want to feel good, you want the pat on the back. It can cause you to hide parts of yourself that seem imperfect. But the imperfect parts of you are actually what's beautiful. Because I don't know about you, but I fall deeper in love with people with issues. Like, if you've got problems, if you're overcoming hard things, if you've been through something and you have a story to tell, I genuinely have an extra affinity and extra love towards people like that. So why wouldn't I think that people would be able to do the same for me? Why do we think that our imperfections take us out of the game for the pureness of true love and acceptance? If this resonates with you, I see some of you guys in here. Drop an emoji with a chat, give me a thumbs up, something if you feel me. But she talks about 4 communication blockers that we really need to stop doing. And once I share these communication blockers with you, you're going to realize how much you do this, and you're doing it on autopilot. So stop doing these 4 things when communicating if you want to be transparent and have authentic relationships. One thing is proving yourself. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You barely have to prove yourself to yourself, because this life is not about proving. Like, what are you proving? You know what I mean? Like, it's just unnecessary. If somebody wants to be with you, they will. If somebody wants to hire you and that's in alignment for where you're at and what's for you, then you'll get hired. If you're supposed to be there, you know what I mean? There's more of a flow to it. When you're proving something, there's a level of falseness and a force that's happening. And you guys know I like to read. So there's a book called Power versus Force. It's one of my favorite books. And when you're walking in your power, because you're not proving yourself, you're not forcing people to like you, you're not forcing whatever idea you want to impose on someone, and you're just walking in your power, that's much more relatable than you trying to prove yourself, because people can smell that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what it is. Sometimes you don't know what it is when someone's talking to you or when you're communicating, but you're like, okay, well, we'll see. You don't have to prove yourself. Now, the second thing that's a communication blocker is hiding. You can't hide. Hiding who you are, hiding the truth, hiding bits of information. Now, don't get me wrong. You don't have to divulge your whole entire life story to certain people in certain times. There's tact. But to hide, to not speak up, to not be in the forefront, to want to say something and feel led to say something and not, these are things that are communication blockers, because you remove that, the proving yourself, the hiding. you actually give yourself an opportunity to have authentic interaction with people, and you never know where that can lead. They might have a job for you, they might have a connection for you, they might want to connect you with somebody they know because you shared something that you weren't afraid to hide, and now that puts you in alignment for the next thing. So the more honest we are about who we are and being okay with that, it's very valuable. Our life happens in moments, one aligned action step at a time. So each moment that you're authentic and transparent and you're not proving yourself and you're not hiding, you're giving yourself an opportunity to receive what's next for you. And that's very important. The third communication blocker you want to stop is protecting yourself. This goes without saying, right? Me and my girlfriend, I would say a couple of years ago, maybe a few years at this point, you know, COVID was like a time warp rabbit hole. I think it was a few years ago. We were like, yeah, we got to stop protecting ourselves. We got to realize that we have divine protection, and it's okay to be mindful of your surroundings and who you're talking with and assess situations. But to just walk around protecting yourself, it almost puts you on this defense that people can feel. And so if you're walking around protecting yourself, people feel that and probably feel the need to do the same. So when you're less open, there's less flow and less ease happening. And again, it's a communication blocker. It's one of those things that keeps us from the goodness that's aligned for us. So for communication blockers, proving yourself, hiding yourself, protecting yourself. I know we have the propensity to protect ourselves because we've been around people who have, quote unquote, done us wrong. But if we think about those wrongdoings and actions, they were lessons. And it's kind of hard to chalk up your heartbreak or pain or times that you weren't protected to, oh, it was a lesson you learned, so it's all good. I want to be sensitive about that. But at the same time, life is always showing us ways where we can navigate and show up better, where we can unfold parts of ourselves in order to heal it, grow it, evolve it, or whatever we need to do so that we can continue to have the most, so we can continue to have the best. That's very important. So even if it hurts along the way, in my opinion, it's very important to remain open, because when you're open, things can flow through. If you're too guarded and too protective because you're trying to protect yourself from whatever it is, you also protect yourself from the good stuff. And we don't want to do that because we deserve the good stuff. So yeah, things happen, people are, but you got discernment now. You have wisdom now. You have your instincts now. You don't have to go around protecting yourself. That is a communication blocker, and it's really only blocking you from the good stuff. Drop an emoji in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. Hey girl, welcome to the Chisel. I got up at 5:45 this morning. Ooh, ooh. Okay, and so the fourth communication blocker that diminishes the value of transparency and is a communication blocker is defending. And this is one that I'm pretty familiar with. When I started learning about this, I'm like, dang, I'd be like really defending, because I have often found value in being right. It's kind of embarrassing, but it is what it is, because I found, it can be comforting. Ego. That darn ego. Like, it's amazing in some, aspects, but when you are communicating with people and you're only hell bent on being right, you can't even hear. You're one of those people who people are talking to you, and instead of having the opportunity to learn something new, we don't know everything, even if we know a lot. Instead of opening ourselves for the opportunity to learn something new, we cut ourselves off because we're waiting to respond so that we can be right and prove our point. Not only is that unattractive, but it's unnecessary. And there's such a beauty. And again, I'm saying this to my own self. I'm learning. I've come a long way. So let me just give myself that. But I just recognize that that is something that I used in the past, in the oldest version of myself, in almost like survival mode, to keep myself safe. So people, know that you're smart, or they know that you know things, or you want people to have a certain perception of you. But again, when it's coming from a place of defense, you just took yourself out of your power And now you're forcing it. You're forcing people to kind of, well, those people who kind of every time you have a conversation with them, they always got an answer. They always know what they're talking about. They always, and sometimes it's just like, I just want to talk. Like, I don't need a sermon. I don't need a lesson. I don't need to be told how wrong I am, or always hear your point of view for that matter, depending on the situation. But I'm just saying that's number 4 when it comes to communication blockers, is being on defense. And we get on defense because, in the past, people might have diminished our value, or we've perceived that they diminished our value, or of not being good enough. So now you're doing all these things to prove that you're good enough, right? So proving, hiding, protecting, defending. So you can be right and safe and comfortable in the world that you created for yourself. So now you're behind the walls of this whole world that you constructed to prove yourself, to hide parts of yourself, to defend yourself, to protect yourself. And now no one can get in, but nothing's getting out and no one can get in. So you're missing the good stuff. Okay, so there's, beauty in being your whole self, in your brilliance and your breakdown. Whoever you are in the dark behind closed doors, in your worst and ugliest times, is the same person you are when you're center stage. Can we integrate those two and be cool with it? Yeah, I'm not perfect. Do we know anyone who is? And is that the point? So it's transparency, it's nakedness. Allow your presence, your nowness, your beingness to align with your truth. And it's all of it. It's your beauty and your bull. That's okay. Those people who are able to integrate both and just show up, they get love, they get likes because they're real. People like real people. It's hard to connect to someone who's perfect, and so I can relate to that too. Some people, I've had friends that be like, man, I wish people online could see this version of you. And I'm thinking, I couldn't understand. And even still now, when I come to you guys, I come pretty succinct. If I'm coming to YouTube and I want to share, I want to give you the share, but I don't want to minimize that these shares come from the hell I've been through, came from me pulling myself out of a hole by myself, came from years of tears and triumph and overcoming and brokenness and hard things. So I come with a smile, I come with a word, I come with succinct, I come with the ability to share what I've learned, but I never want to portray that this is coming from a place of perfection. I am who I am because of pain, because of turmoil, because of needing to heal myself. This is not perfection. So, if my life was perfect, what could I teach you? And I want to teach, I want to share. And again, the reason why I have so much to teach and share is because I'm constantly digging and learning so I can grow, so I can be okay, so I can have more, so I can evolve, and so I can thrive. So it comes from the ugly things. It's my brilliance and my brokenness. It's my bomb and my BS. This is all of it. This is what creates the opportunity for me to come here and share succinctly with a smile. So I just kind of wanted to share that. And that's my moment of transparency. I'm not really big on coming on the internet and crying, even though when, there's certain conversations had, tears will come because we've been through some hard things. I am able to share so much about how to evolve your soul and put you in alignment with what is for you, because I had to learn the hard way. The tears, the oceans of tears I've cried, because my life is not perfect. I don't care how white my teeth are, how happy I look, how whatever's going on, So there's value in transparency. Just to wrap this up, the 4 communication blockers are proving, hiding, protecting, and defending. Please, what I challenge you to do as you go out today, notice your interactions with others and see if you're doing any of those 4 things. Are you protecting yourself? Are you hiding parts of yourself? Are you defending yourself? Can somebody say something to you that you don't agree with and you don't have to prove or defend? You're gonna no, that's not what, you know what I'm saying? That energy. Protecting yourself? No, that's not. Or can you stand in the fullness of your beingness, you know, your brilliance and your brokenness, and just be cool with what's in front of you? Be open to learn. This is me. This is what I'm doing. This is who I am. And I'm willing to learn the same from you, right? So that was it. I just wanted to come and share that. If you guys enjoyed this message, please like it. If you found value in it, share it with a friend. Share it with somebody that you know it will bless. Subscribe to my channel. I'm always popping on and sharing things that I know if you take into consideration, it'll change your life. And that sounds like this big thing. It'll change your life, but it will. When you get information, especially that is bred from universal truth, and you allow it to take a little bit of root and you give it a shot, you have just changed the trajectory of your life. A ship going from point A to point B, 1 degree difference. If the captain puts 1 degree difference on that, you're not going to end up at point B. You're going to end up at point M by the time you get to the end of your journey. So all of this stuff really makes sense. So turn your notifications on. We're changing our lives 1 degree at a time. Big change doesn't happen overnight. You know that because you're probably at times looking at your watch like, when is the time to get mine? It's like, this is incremental. So subscribe to my channel, share with friends, put your notifications on so we can continue to grow together. Because if you haven't noticed, it's a new era. We're not who we used to be. But if we're not intentional about designing, redefining, and reimagining who we want to be and who we are, and putting that in practice and action, and using our wisdom to actually implement change, you will end up in the same place you've been, the same place you were. Change. This could be a new era all day. You're going to be the same you without this stuff. So rock with me. Okay, let's do this. Let's continue to grow. I hope you enjoyed this message. Thanks for you guys that are tuning in. I hope you watch the replay. Like it, share it, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. I'm going to play my outro because what am I doing? It's cute. Where are we at? Here we go.